Lanzillotta with Hartman-Cox Architects. It has been our pleasure to work with Christ and St. Luke's to develop the master plan for the stewardship of the buildings at Christ and St. Luke's, and now to work on developing a design that we can execute over a series of phases. At this point, we are happy to share with you the schematic design for the renovation and stewardship. Over the past several months since we were last together, we have continued to develop the master plan into a design. In the intervening times, we have come down and listened to you all, visited the site, worked with our contractors and our subconsultants to move the package forward. The phase that we're in currently is called schematic design. And really the purpose of schematic design is to take that master plan and to refine it and create a series of documents that illustrate the scale and relationship of the various project components, including drawings that might be plans or sections or elevations and conceptual renderings that illustrate the general shape, size, and character of the spaces as we develop this phase. When we were last together, we were just completing the master plan study. And in that point, we had identified a number of phases or packages of work that could be done over a period of time as the resources were available. After the completion of our study, the cost estimates were developed, the packages were further refined, and you all went out and did an amazing job of fundraising, raising over $5 million in a very short period of time, and you're to be congratulated for that heroic task. Now it is our challenge to identify the packages that are the highest priority based on your input and how to move those packages forward in a timely way. As we are finishing schematic design, we are now going to do another cost estimate to make sure we are staying on budget in a timely way, and then think about how the packages would be implemented over time in a means that would only require that we spend the available resources that you have. So we are going to try to put together the packages in a way that they align with the budgets that you all have done. And to that end, we have created 6 packages. The first package really is the critical envelope repairs. And this is the windows, the stone, the roof, and those areas. The second package relates to all things organ, including the expansion into the great swell chamber. There are other sanctuary rehabilitation aspects that need to be discussed. The fourth package is the infill and or new entrance, depending upon resources. Package 5 relates to the Parish House and Lloyd Hall renovations, and Phase 6 relates to the Lichgate Garden. And these would be undertaken in time. So we're going to be working on the design development and through construction documents in the course of 2017 to 2018, with the critical envelope repairs to be done first. We need to get the building tight, and so we keep water out. The organ restoration work is already begun. We've been working with Foley Baker, and they will start to remove the organ next January, late December, early January. The sanctuary rehabilitation would really happen concurrently while the organ is out so that we don't create dust after the organ comes back. The infill and or new entrance would happen after the completion of the organ restoration and the sanctuary rehabilitation. And concurrent with that, and perhaps overlapping, depending upon resources, there might be some additional renovations that happen in the Parish House and Lloyd Hall. And the package that is out in the future, really not funded at the moment, is the Lichgate Garden package. Starting with the critical envelope repairs. Steve Hentz and his team were on site in February, and I had the pleasure of getting on the lift with them to go up and look more closely at the roof, at the masonry, and at the windows. And in the process, a number of items were identified where we are seeing leaks and failures in the masonry, in the roof, and in the downspouts. And in order to do anything on the inside, we really need to get the building envelope tight. Otherwise, any work done in the inside will be continued to be damaged by the water coming through the wall. Steve created a series of diagrams that identified the most critical repairs that need to be done, followed by moderate repairs that need to be done. Those most critical repairs, as you might expect, are up high and will require scaffolding to get to them. That work really needs to happen first, again, so that we can get the building to dry out, because even some of the sanctuary rehabilitation that we're talking about can't happen until after the envelope, the water stops coming through the walls. Next on tap is the organ restoration. This was one of the highest priorities that the parish identified. And the organ restoration takes on a couple of phases. The first phase will be to remove the organ. All the pipes will be packed up. Foley Baker's been down doing a lot of work and study. And then while the organ is out, we will enlarge the great chamber from its current size, shown in the red rectangle on the left, to a larger chamber as shown in the red rectangle on the right. At the conclusion of the rehabilitation, probably in the fall of 2018, the organ will be returned and reinstalled, acclimated and voiced, with the goal of the organ being ready to be used to celebrate Christmas in 2018. While the organ is out for rehabilitation, this is really our opportunity to make dust in the sanctuary. After we've gotten the envelope tight, the walls and the roof from water flowing through, this will be the opportunity to do some stone cleaning on the areas that the wall is dry. It gives us the opportunity to work on the pews and the floors, to install the new mechanical system, and to make the changes to the steps. As some of you may recall, over the winter we actually set up some scaffolding to do some sample cleaning tests. The image on the left before you shows the conditions before we started our tests, and we used a series of products that allowed us to apply basically a latex poultice. And as we pulled that poultice off, it brought with it the dust. We tried about 4 different products, and the product that we thought was most successful can be seen in the right-hand side of the right image. There are 5 areas that we're going to focus on with the sanctuary rehabilitation projects. The first one is, some people know it as the double door. The door at the east end of the aisle that goes into the stairs, that door needs to swing in the opposite direction in order to safely allow people to exit the building should there be an emergency. The second item is we're going to soundproof the accessible ramp. We also have heard from you all, in particular, that the kneelers need some improvement, and having kneeled in your church, I can agree. And so we'll be looking at ways to improve that configuration. We also heard from the choir and from others who utilize your space for performances that the sanctuary steps up to the chancel are a little bit precarious and don't have enough space at the top, and so we're going to reconfigure those slightly in order to make a more commodious landing before the choir stalls. We're going to install a safe 2-part ladder that gives better access to the swell chamber as part of this rehabilitation. The other major focus of the rehabilitation is really the lighting. And we have heard from a number of folks, particularly the choir, that the lighting is really deficient, both at the front of the steps that we were just discussing, as well as within the choir itself. We've also heard that the reredos is not truly appreciated because it's not illuminated properly. So to that end, we are proposing a modest lighting scheme that will direct light immediately to the front of the altar area, as seen in the upper left illustration. We will also enhance the lighting for the choir immediately adjacent using the rood beam. We'll also enhance some lighting at the chapel pulpit, and importantly provide some accent lighting at the reredos so that people can truly appreciate the glory of those sculptures. One of the other things you all shared with us importantly was the mechanical system is deficient. So what we're going to move forward with is a geothermal well system that will allow your condenser farm outside of the church to be removed. These geothermal wells will be installed at the in the grassy area at the intersection of Bosvan and Stockley Garden, and then the mechanical systems inside the building will be replaced with an updated system. Our fourth package focuses on the infill and the new entrance. The genesis of this really is accessibility in the spirit of hospitality and welcome. Currently, it's very difficult for people with limited mobility to get to the second floor. You have no elevator. And the transition really from the parish house level to Lloyd Hall is via the ramp. It's very tight, and we are proposing that we add an elevator, shown as item 2, that will allow people to go up and down and provide accessibility to all levels of the building. The elevator would be housed in a new piece of the building that would infill the gap between Lloyd Hall and the parish house. We would also be improving the restroom situation. That's something else that we've heard from everyone, that restrooms are inadequate. And concurrent with that, we have the option of installing a new central entrance that would be off of the green space at the intersection of Bosavant and Stockley Garden. This new entrance would have stairs and an accessible ramp so that everyone could enter the building together. This would also be the spot where there would be a greeter during the week. This would be the main door that was open during the week so that everybody has a single point of secure access to the building. On the second floor, the elevator would bring folks up to the second floor level, and at this level we would have, again, some additional restrooms that we've heard we need. It would also provide a connection through to the office area and to the new choir room that would be relocated out of the basement up to the area that is approximately where the children's chapel is now. Package 5 focuses on other modifications to the parish house and Lloyd Hall. What we have heard is that it's very important to bring the children down and have them on the main floor of the parish house and Lloyd Hall. And to do this, we're proposing that we relocate parish staff upstairs to the area adjacent to the choir room. In the process, We'll be able to transform Father Grant's office into a parlor, enlarge the sacristy, right-size the flower guild and dressing area, convert the meeting room that's currently being used once the closets are removed into a space that can accommodate 25 to 30 people, move the nursery into Father Wynn's area, and convert the parish office into 2 restrooms, one appropriately sized for children. As part of the reconfigurations to Lloyd Hall, we're proposing to subdivide the space with an operable partition to create flexibility. So this will work not only for the Sundays with the children's programs, but also during the week for setup for various events. And throughout the parish house and Lloyd Hall, we're proposing new mechanical systems as well as fire protection systems. The image shown here is an example of what the folding partition might possibly look like. Again, it's schematic design. We're looking at options. We're looking at character. Modifications to the second floor of the parish house, as I mentioned, would include reconfiguring the space to have the choir room on the second floor, as shown in item 1. New offices for the clergy and staff, as shown with the number 2. Meeting rooms with some possible vesting areas for the women, as item 3. And again, new mechanical, plumbing, electrical, and fire protection throughout the second floor. In the choir room, we are planning to remove the ceiling and open it back to the original shape of the room with this vaulted space. The wood floors that exist could be rehabilitated. Minor furniture could be added to house the various musical folders. And the space could not only be used for the choir, but it could be reconfigured for larger meetings, small lectures. The parish would get lots of use out of this space in general. But particularly, it's going to be a wonderful daylit space with nice high ceilings to allow the music program to really move forward at Christ and St. Luke's. The final package that's under consideration is the Lychgate Garden. At this point, we anticipate this to be done as a much future stage, but the addition of the accessible ramp, as shown with the number 1, would allow everyone to come up and enter again through the parish house door. It also provides the opportunity for some mitigation to deal with stormwater, a retention system. It also gives us the opportunity to add some additional columbarium spaces in the sidewall. It gives us the opportunity to remove the steps that are currently, that go down to the parish house basement presently. And it allows us to do some much needed improvements to not only the garden itself and deal with some of the grading problems so that we don't create a pool out there, but it also allows us to replace and repair the lich gate at the entry to the garden. Design is an iterative process. We put out ideas, obtain feedback, refine the designs, combine ideas, edit ideas. We will be moving into the design development phase, continuing to refine the detailing of the spaces as well as refining the cost. Thank you for your time this evening. We appreciate your interest in the project and look forward to your comments and suggestions.